It all started on a quiet evening in a dusty little town off Route 19, the kind of place where bikers, travelers, and lost souls crossed paths just long enough to find a drink and a story. Inside, Harper's Roadhouse, a dimly lit bar with wood walls filled with old Marine medals, photos, and license plates from every corner of America, stood Jack Harper, a single dad, Marine veteran, and the man who ran the place with discipline, loyalty, and a soft spot for anyone needing a second chance. But tonight wasn't like other nights. Tonight, fate had parked two roaring motorcycles outside his roadhouse, twin Hells Angels, a pair of hardened bikers who looked like they'd seen more wars on the street than Jack had in battle. Everyone watched as they walked in, helmets tucked under their arms, leather jackets marked with scars, eyes sharp as daggers. And right behind them, almost unnoticed, came Trouble, a group of loud, drunk locals who had been spoiling for a fight. From the very first moment, Jack knew something was off. His instincts, honed from years in combat, told him these weren't bad men, they were survivors. The twins took a quiet table in the corner, ordered coffee, not whiskey. That alone said everything. But the locals didn't see that. They saw leather, tattoos, and patches, and they saw an opportunity. The air thickened as one of the locals, a man twice the size of a bull and half as smart, shoved one of the twins, snarling something about, "No angels in my town." Chairs scraped back. Jack's heart raced. He could feel the tension, not fear, but the same cold stillness before a firefight. And then he did what Marines do best, he acted. "Not in my place," Jack said firmly, stepping between them. His voice was low but carried the weight of a man who'd stared death in the face and walked away. "You've got a problem, you take it outside. But you touch a guest in my roadhouse again, you'll answer to me." The locals laughed, until Jack's eyes met theirs. That was all it took. The kind of eyes only a Marine has, steady, fearless, unshakable. Slowly, they backed down, muttering curses under their breath, heading out the door. The twin bikers exchanged a look, then one of them said quietly, "You didn't have to do that, brother. We're used to fighting our own battles." Jack shrugged, wiping his hands on a bar rag. "Maybe. But not in my house. Not tonight." They shared a silent understanding, a respect born not from words, but from something deeper, men who'd seen the world's ugliness and still chose honor. They left soon after, leaving behind a patch, their insignia, on the counter. Jack picked it up, confused. It was a token, a biker's way of saying thank you. That night, as he closed up, his daughter Emily, a bright, spirited teenager who helped run the place, asked, "Dad, why'd you stick your neck out for them?" Jack smiled softly. "Because you never judge a man by his jacket, kid. Only by his actions." The next morning started like any other, coffee brewing, neon sign flickering, until the sound of engines rolled across the valley like thunder. Jack stepped outside, blinking against the sun, and froze. Lined across the entire lot, stretching down the road, were hundreds of bikes. The smell of leather, chrome, and freedom filled the air. And leading them were the twins from last night, helmets off, smiles wide. But what stunned Jack most wasn't the men. It was the women. At least 200 lady bikers, from every chapter, every corner of the country, filled his parking lot. Leather jackets, pink bandanas, angel patches, a sisterhood united. They'd come not for trouble, but tribute. One of the twins walked up and said, "Word travels fast, Marine. You stood up when no one else would." These ladies, they wanted to meet the man who reminded the world what brotherhood and sisterhood still means. Jack stood silent, humbled. Emily ran out, wide-eyed. The women greeted her warmly, calling her "little sis," gifting her a pin that read, "Ride with honor." What followed was a day that would become legend. The bikers didn't just visit, they helped. They cleaned the roadhouse, painted the old sign, filled the jukebox, and turned the quiet bar into a place of unity and laughter. They shared stories, of the road, of loss, of battles fought and lessons learned. One woman, her hair streaked with gray, told Emily, "Your dad's the kind of man this world needs more of, a man who sees people, not patches." That night, as the sun set and engines roared into the horizon, Jack stood at the door, watching them disappear down the highway, a line of light and strength fading into the dusk. In his hand, he held a single patch they'd left behind, embroidered words that said, "Brother in arms. Guardian of the road." He pinned it above the bar, next to his Marine medals. Emily smiled, resting her head on his shoulder. You always say one act of kindness can change a day, she whispered. Looks like you changed a few lives. Jack looked at her with quiet pride. Maybe. Or maybe they changed mine. The Roadhouse never went quiet again. Travelers came from far and wide to see the Marine who stood up for the angels. And every time someone asked about that day, Jack would just grin and say, you don't need a badge or a bike to stand for what's right. Just a heart that's not afraid. So if you ever pass through Route 19, and you see a little roadhouse with a Marine flag flying high and a parking lot full of bikes, stop in. Because inside, you'll find more than cold drinks and warm meals. You'll find a story that reminds us all. Courage doesn't roar, sometimes, it simply stands.